The Fox News alert, the U.S.-China trade feud now threatening Canada.
A top Chinese executive is due in court later today after getting arrested at an airport in Canada.
All right, her name is Susan Lee, and she has to make sense of all this. Susan,
from Fox Business.
Yeah, from Fox Business. So, Susan, here we have a situation where we have a 90-day window to work out a trade truce with China.
Right.
At the same time, on Sunday, this arrest happens. Why should we care?
Well, it's a big deal. Did you see the market reaction yesterday? The Dow dropped 700 points because everyone's scared about what happens to this 90-day trade truce. So this is a big deal, and also it's a diplomatic big deal as well because it throws into question, yes, a trade deal, but let me explain to you what Huawei is. People are thinking, what is this company? It's one of China's largest technology companies. I would equate it to a Microsoft or a Dell, steady stream of income, doesn't make a lot of noise, not that flashy. Third largest mobile phone maker in the world. So the chief financial officer, she's the CFO of the company, but more importantly, she's the daughter of the founder of the company. And that's a big deal in China. Her name is Meng Wanzhou. She was arrested Saturday in Vancouver while she was changing planes. This was reportedly directed by the U.S. Justice Department, who wanted to have Meng extradited to the U.S. on charges that may relate to breaking Iran sanctions. According to the New York Times, this is unauthorized sales of U.S. technology to Iran. Now, there's a bail hearing set for today at 1 p.m. Eastern Time in Vancouver. But this has really thrown that U.S.-China trade truce into question. And a sharp rebuke from China against this arrest, as you can imagine. Very short statement as well. They were questioning whether or not you can just arrest somebody without any distinct charges. So markets reacted badly to this. We were down 700 points before a dramatic final hour rally because the Fed may not be hiking interest rates as much next year. But this throws into questions also who knew what when. And the National Security Advisor, John Bolton, told NPR News that the Justice Department told him in advance that they were going to make this arrest. We did have Peter Navarro, the trade advisor, last night telling us that no one knew, apparently, before this arrest.
The president didn't know.
Especially the president definitely did not know about this before the G20 dinner or even in advance. But we did hear from the Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, who says that he was given a few days heads up, and this is a Justice Department matter, not diplomatic.
Okay, so what did this company do wrong? Is this one of the outfits that's stealing American technology, or the fact that they were selling things to Iran?
Okay, well, I think in this particular case, there are questions whether or not they were shifting U.S. technology to Iran. Again, this is unconfirmed. This is coming from the New York Times. But we know Huawei has been in focus for many years, whether it's a conduit for Chinese spying, because their main business, selling mobile phones, which, by the way, is not allowed anymore on U.S. defense bases, but also they're a telecommunications equipment maker. So they install telecom equipment for a lot of the big phone companies.
Susan, Congressman Jim Banks of Indiana says this is a state-directed entity actively undermining America's national interest. China is trying to cheat its way to global dominance, and we cannot let it happen. And President Trump has basically said when he took over, be aggressive. This is not going to stand anymore.
Yeah.
He was aggressive in trade, but they're moving on two separate paths.
A very good point.
Right?
Exactly. So one hand, you're trying to sign a trade truce or a trade deal. On the other hand, you're trying to get tough with people that you think are undermining national security. That includes a Chinese company called Huawei.
And China's reaction?
As I said, a very sharp, short rebuke. You know, nothing I would say on the diplomatic front that I would say says anything about possibly questioning this China trade truce. But they talked about human rights and humans having rights in court cases.
That's fascinating for them to talk about human rights.
That's what a lot of people say.
This definitely affects Americans because of the stock market, and we saw what has happened as a result. But is there any other? Is our information being shared now with Iran through this company?
Again, we don't know anything specific. I don't want to make any guesses on that, but that's something obviously to be delved into.
Maybe we'll hear about it at the arraignment. All right, Susan, thank you very much.
How do you think the market will react real quick, Susan?
I think we're pricing a small recovery today. Global stock markets have come back a little bit.
Because of interest rates.
Yes, that's all because of interest rates.
All right, we're going to hold you to that. We're taping this segment.
All right. Meanwhile, great interest in the headlines, and Carly's got those right now.
That's right. Good morning to you and everyone at home. If you are just waking up, Kevin Hart's gig as Oscars host is over 2 days after taking the job. The comedian bowing out overnight after his controversial tweets about gay people resurfaced. Hart says the Academy gave him two options: apologize or step down. Hart tweeting in part, quote, "I'm sorry that I hurt people. I am evolving and want to continue to do so. My goal is to bring people together, not tear us apart." 9 new cases of E. coli linked to romaine lettuce just announced. The CDC renewing its warning not to eat romaine if it comes from northern or central California, or if the source is unknown. At least 52 people in 15 states have gotten sick, most of the cases reportedly in New Jersey and California. And a deputy teams up with a Good Samaritan to rescue a man trapped inside a burning truck. Watch this.
Is the dash holding your leg in? Okay. Man, please help me.
Wow, the Texas deputy helping free the man's leg stuck under the dashboard. Bystanders pulling him to safety. The driver was airlifted to the hospital with serious injuries. And this may be the shot of the morning. Santa Claus gets down on one knee to thank a veteran for his service. He says it's important to recognize heroes like 93-year-old Bob Smiley.
We owe a debt of gratitude to men like this that have made such a life-changing decision to give up themselves, be willing to lay down their life even for other people.
That is a very good Santa Claus right there. He met the World War II veteran at a mall in Delaware. We can bet Bob Smiley is absolutely on the nice list this year. And those are your headlines.
The greatest generation.
That was cool of Sam.
Isn't that neat?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Terrific.
All right, turning now to some extreme weather. A powerful winter storm has millions in its path. Heavy rain and intense flooding pounding Southern California.
Meanwhile, a Southwest Airlines jet skidded off a wet runway at Hollywood's Burbank Airport. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. Look at that.
Janice Dean has the forecast as the storm moves east. Hey, Janice.
Hello. Well, let's talk about the weather, and then I'm going to introduce you to some of my friends. Let's go to the maps first. We have that potential winter storm that's going to affect areas across the south, starting in the southwest, moving across the southern plains, the central U.S. This is going to be a big one, not only for heavy rain and flooding across Texas and Louisiana, but we're going to see the potential for ice. And depending on where that 32-degree line is, that freezing line, that's where we're going to see the difference between the freezing rain and the sleet and the snow. So just keep that in mind. We're going to see some travel delays. Even if the storm is not impacting you, it's going to affect much of the country. So we will be keeping you up to date throughout the day today and this weekend. All right, come over here. We've got a Sweet 16 over here. Wave, my love. Happy Sweet 16. We got Mississippi and New York here. Mississippi, any birthdays? North Carolina, birthdays? 50, girlfriend. Any anniversaries? All right, and we love Fox and Friends. Where's your anniversary right over here?
30 years.
Yay, 30 years. What's the secret?
I don't know. Just put God first.
Oh, God first. I love. And Fox and Friends, right?
That's right.
All right. Keeping marriage happy across the country. All right, back inside, everybody.
Great.
Yay!
Very nice.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
It's hard for Janice to outdo yesterday. If you missed it, there was a live proposal in the 8 o'clock hour.
I know.
Those weren't
So
actors. Those were real people, right?
They were. Congratulations.
Meanwhile, Elizabeth Warren took a DNA test to prove she's Native American, but those results may be coming back to haunt her. Ed Henry here to explain.
Plus, one Fox and Friends viewer got the surprise of a lifetime, a video call from Steve.
Yep.
How would you like to make a trip to New York City because you're one of the winners in our contest?
It would be such an honor and incredible. I would love it.
Well, that lucky winner is here, and she is making her happy recipe inspired by Steve's cookbook. Coming up.
She's making a happy cake.